Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tom. I'm an Open University student studying computing and IT, and today I'm going to be talking about TM354 software engineering. This module is my first module in year 3, so I will be comparing my thoughts between a year 2 module up to a year 3 module and see how much difficult it's become or more in depth it's become. But for now, let's get into what the module is about. Of course, when I talk about this module, I'll be talking very plainly, not in much depth, simply because obviously I don't want to get into the bad foot with Open University. They obviously probably don't want someone saying literally every little detail about what they talk about or what they teach you, simply because they want people to pay for their course. The module is split over 12 units, which is split over to 3 books. Book 1 has units 1 to 4, Book 2 units 5 to 8, and then Book 3 units 9 to 12. And I will quickly go over what each unit is and roughly what it's about. If you see me looking down here, it's simply because I'm reading it from my display, just so I don't get anything wrong. I don't want to tell you something and then it be obviously wrong. So, Unit 1 is Approaches to Software Development. They will talk about an introduction to software development and modelling in software development. Unit 2 is Requirements Concepts. We'll talk about functional and non-functional requirements, as well as conformance testing and fit criteria. Unit 3 is from domain modelling to requirements. They basically talk about business rules and simple use case models. And then Unit 4 is the first part of the case study. At the end of each book, the last unit is you focusing on this case study. It's the same case study throughout the entire module. You tend to look back at the past 3 units and apply what you've learned onto the use case. For this module, the use case, I think it will be the same, so we'll be very plain about it. But the use cases will be introducing a software system to a hotel. That's about as much as I'm going to go about it. It gives you a big explanation what the software is and what it's supposed to be doing. Like I say, you just go a bit more depth each time. For this one, you talk about the up in practice, understanding the domain and scope of the new system, as well as talking about requirements and testing. Unit 5 is structural modelling. You'll talk about structural models, domain structural models, and analyst models. Unit 6, dynamic modelling from analysis to design. So you talk about design by contract. You start looking at dynamic modelling, and then more with interaction diagrams and design decisions. Unit 7 is more on dynamic modelling, states and activities. Capturing more complex interaction, design issues, and introduction to state machines. And then Unit 8 is the case study part 2. So again, you'll look at the same case study. This time we're looking to more conceptual models, analyst, design, and assigning responsibilities and consistency. Unit 9 is architecture, patterns and reuse. That was about architecture, reuse and reusing design. Unit 10 is building blocks and enterprise architectures, which talks about components and interfaces, service-oriented architecture and other architecture, as well as quality attributes and tactics. Unit 11 is product quality, which talks about verification, metrics and testing. And then Unit 12 is the case study part 3. This time you look at the architectural views of the hotel system, implementing a first iteration and using the facade pattern, that's FACADE, and verifying and validating the implementation. The module is split into 3 TMAs, 1 for each book. I've got the dates for when my TMAs were due in. Again, they might vary depending, obviously when you study. But TMA 1 was due in 4th of December, TMA 2, 26th of February, and then TMA 3 was 29th of April was when it was due. And there is an exam for this module. However, because it was this year, in case you're watching this video in the future, this is the year where COVID happened. All exams, well, my exams anyway, were cancelled through Open University, so I didn't actually do the exam. However, I did have a quick look at the practice exam, and I can tell you the exam will be split into 2 parts. where the first part is a set of short questions, where each one's worth like 2-3 marks. And then the second section is basically 2 really long questions. Each part are worth 50 marks. Obviously, the exam's worth 100 marks altogether. I can only assume that you need to at least pass the exam. If it's anything like any other exams, you usually have to get at least 40%, 40 marks to pass an exam. So that will obviously play a huge part in the module. So that is a very quick look at TM354 software engineering. And now just to quickly talk about how I felt going from year 2 into year 3. I was actually studying a year 2 module as well, which is M250, object oriented programming. I've done a video on it past. I'll link it up there if you haven't seen it. So it was kind of a good idea to see them both side by side. I honestly thought there wasn't that much of a step up going into it. There was a lot of reading, a lot less practical work, apart from you had to design models and stuff. You can do that on pretty much anything. Well, you can do that on Paint, Word. But that was probably it for practical works. There's a lot of theory-based stuff, a lot of reading, a lot of rereading. The tutorials were very helpful when it came to the TMAs. But yeah, comparing year 3 to year 2, not much of a difference apart from, like I say, a step up in reading, possibly. I'll have probably more of a better idea when it comes to October again, when I start my final 2 module, well, 3 year 3 modules. But yeah, looking side by side, I think it's because M250 had a lot of practical work, so I spent a lot more time at the computer, so it felt like I was doing more. Where obviously when you're reading your modules, as long as you take your books with you, you can read them anywhere or download the electronic versions, put them on your phone, tablet. So it feels a lot less like you're doing work constantly. Whereas, like I say, with my M250 module, I was spending a lot of time at a computer because it was all programming. So maybe that's why I feel like there's not much difference. I don't know. Would I go along with the recommended 10 hours study per week? Probably. Like I say, there's a lot of reading, so you probably will spend 10 hours a week studying this module. Definitely doesn't hurt to spend more than you need to. Obviously, if you want to reread everything twice, spend 20 hours, you can do. It's a lot of information. It does a good job of repeating over what has been taught previously. But obviously it can't constantly repeat everything because you won't learn anything new. So I would spend as much time as you can reading it, making notes. I use OneNote for that. If you want a video on Microsoft OneNote, I think I maybe did a video at one point to talk about it. It would have been a rubbish video. I can make a much better video now talking about Microsoft OneNote. The reason why I do that is because it syncs with my computer, tablet, phone. So I can basically make notes wherever I want and then get back off to where I left off on my computer or on my phone or whatever. You see my point. So I would advise spend as much time as possible as you can making notes along with this module. But I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it's not been too rambly. I've kind of gone a bit off the top of my head. But thank you guys for watching. Apologies for not looking at the camera as much. Again, I was reading and I'm looking at my preview over there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Again, if you want to ask me any questions, I might do a common Open University questions in my next video. So leave any questions you want in the video, in the comment section, or ask me on social media, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.